I feel like I've been slapped by polygamy. It's hard not to be bitter about the fact that I bought off on it and did it, because in the end, in the last moments of it, it felt terrible. I don't want to pursue another woman.
Latest episode of Sister Wives Kody Brown had a sit-down with Robin, and they discussed, his relationship with his children and how they were getting better. And recently on Patreon, McKeely and Tony discussed this episode because they just saw it, and they said that although Kody's relationship at the time was improving, they said that it's kind of taken a step back since they've left the state of Utah and now reside in North Carolina, because most of Kody's interaction with the rest of the family went through McKeely and Tony. And when they distanced themselves from having to be intermediators between not only Christine and Cody, but their siblings, Cody sort of relinquished part of it. And then once Garrison died, relationships with Cody fell apart and worsened. So on the one hand, Cody has saying, "Oh, everything is better." But then on the other hand, McKelty states in real time, that things really haven't improved. And the only way that it will improve is if my dad actually becomes accountable for what he has stated and done on the show and the really terrible things that he has stated about his children. And it would be then and only then that he would have a chance at rebuilding his relationships with his kids that he is alienated from. But his alienation is his own doing. It has nothing to do with the other women. It's his abusive rhetoric that he has used, the things that he has said about the kids and the way that he has portrayed them that they take issue with, and the nasty things he has said about not only them, but their mom, So Cody in real time's relationships with his kids has not improved, and it's received practically worse since Garrison's death. So on that score, Cody is reportedly waving his red-white flag and acknowledging that he has no cause when it regards his daughter truly, because yesterday in Utah court, Kody Brown and Christine reached a settlement, an agreement of settlement for child support and for the compliance with child support.
Because I don't want that headache, the questions, the struggles, the wonder about trust. I'm not in that space.
And terms of the settlement are not at present public, and we don't know what the plans are for the way forward here. But something happened between September and now, when Cody is no longer battling with Christine. When Christine brought a case against Cody, she brought in September. She sought parenting time, child custody and child support, and paternity. Cody then brought a countersuit against her, which everybody was like, why on earth would Cody actually bring a countersuit? He has no relationship with his daughter, really, and it just appeared petty and cruel. And many of us, including myself, were like, well, he's probably doing this because my view was that he doesn't want to pay child support. That was my view. So yesterday they filed a settlement agreement, and then Cody filled out a child support worksheet and statement of compliance. So what this form is, it includes that Christine and Cody both were required to submit to the court pay-ubs from employers or 1099. However they're getting paid, both of them. Christine and Cody had to have a copy of their tax return, and that had to be filed with the court. And then they also had to complete a worksheet, which is annexed to it, which was utilized to calculate what the child support figure would be. And it would basically be based on whether or not they're having sole physical custody, joint physical custody, or split custody. And then the child support is premised on statewide uniform support guidelines. And they're essentially saying that it's in accordance with the state child support guidelines. So they're applying the guidelines of the worksheet that the state uses to determine how much he'll pay. As I said before, I think the fact that Truly is 15 years old now, and the fact that she turned 15 in April, is a significant factor in this case, because Truly gets to decide where she would like to reside, and Cody can battle all day, every day, and tell her that he wants to see her more. But he must be capable of showing that he's actually having an established relationship with her and knows her. And literally in this latest episode, he's discussing how he doesn't even have a relationship with his children because he's not in the houses with them, because all of it's through his ex-wives or his wife. And when he's speaking of going to Utah, the reason why he's going there clearly is, one, it's because he wants to see McKeely, but it was to see his daughter really. So if he's trying to make I don't have a relationship with them because of Christine, it was like he was trying to stage that he has been alienated, and he was going to try to use that in a child custody situation, such as Christine alienated me from these children, and that is why I don't have relationships. Well, the humorous thing about child custody and these sorts of cases is that when a child becomes a certain age, they get to speak before a judge as to what they want and what they believe and where they would like to reside. And I do not believe that the writing on the wall would have been in Kody's favor, because if this had gone to trial, all of this would have been extremely messy for him. There would have been all of the dirty laundry exposed about how much of a non-factor he has been in the life of his daughter, really how she nearly died under his care, how he did not pay for her insurance after she was in the hospital and nearly died, how he essentially abandoned Christine after she had that child, and Kody never had a good relation with his daughter. Truly and truly has more or less been immensely attached to not just Christine, but her elder sisters. Both Aspen and McKelty played a very big part in assisting Christine with Truly when she was little, and then after Aspen and McKeely left, the elder two girls who were above, Truly, Gwendolyn, and Isabel, played another big part in assisting Christine with Truly. And so Truly has had a very close relationship to her sisters. So it would be absurd to believe that a judge in this case, if she wants to live with mom, she gets along with mom. She gets along with her stepdad. She has family. That's all in Utah. She's got Isabel. She has Aspen, who's frankly just announced her pregnancy. So Aspen and Mitch are having their first child. Aspen was on a local Fox network, discussing Mother's Day, and she was being interviewed by a local journalist, and she was demonstrating what Kendra Scott can provide for mothers, but she mentioned that she was pregnant, expecting her first. So it would be it's like almost her first Mother's Day. She seemed like she was quite far along, probably 6-7 months. So congrats to me, Mitch, and Aspen. But the family ties here would be difficult for Kody to get over. And then by coincidence, in the same Patreon, McKeely and Tony discuss the fact that Kody doesn't go to Utah very often. So it seems the way that Tony explained it was that Robin puts a lot of pressure on Kody and guilts him when he travels. And so when he travels, he can only spend some amount of time. And he named it like the price of taking. So Robin puts these blames him and makes him guilty and makes him feel like he just will be in trouble if he does that too many times. And because she would be then home with her children. But this is what you married up for, Robin, when you married a guy that had babies with other girls. Whatever. That's a tale for another day. But the manner in which they made it appear was that Kody actually doesn't see really that much, perhaps a few times a year, and it was nearly always made possible by someone else. So he depended on his other kids to attempt to intermediate so that he might see really, and that the relationship he shares with Truly isn't really close. And then they asked them, Ariella got this, vanity, and it was this huge gift that she received for the Valentine's Day. And they asked them, did Truly get anything like that? And they said, no, Truly didn't get anything like that, nothing. They don't even know if Truly got phone call or even a card. And McKeely also said that this notion that they did big gifts for Valentine's Day is a lie. She said that once they finally got money, he got his daughter's boxes of chocolates, and they described this gift of getting her a vanity for her makeup as an over-the-top gift that he never would have done before. And other issues that they discussed with relation to Kody was, when Kody started bragging about the amount of money that he pays for a Coyote Pass versus everything else, McKeely made the comment, Well, you also didn't pay for any of your kids. You depended on all of your lives to foot them, so Cody can speak all day long about the money he is spending, but he wasn't paying for his kids, and that is an expense that must be accounted for. He's obligated to care for children in the eyes of the law. Up until yesterday, Cody has never been held accountable ever in a courtroom, having to be held up to the level of child support. So, I don't know what the total amount he will pay per month is, but under Utah law, it says that parents have a legal duty to support their minor children. Unless a minor is emancipated, child support continues until the child is 18 or has completed high school. Whichever is later child is support for the use and benefit of the child. And in some cases, the court may order child support to continue after 18 for a disabled child who continues to be dependent. And once it's in place by the court, it states all parties are required to comply with court orders. Custodial pay. Parents cannot withhold parent time, even if the child support is not paid. A parent cannot withhold child support, even if parent time is being denied. If a party does not comply with a court order, the other party can file a motion requesting the court to enforce the order. The order of enforcement can have a money judgment for debt, and the court can also hold a party in contempt of court and require the party to pay a fine or be incarcerated. So once this is posted and put into an order, Cody has a monthly payment that he must make, and if he fails to remain in compliance with, then Christine file an order with the court to make him pay if he consents to whatever time with the kids and consents to enjoy having her around at some times, or if she would like to go see her, or whatever it is. You know, Christine can't deny really, and I don't think she ever would, but Cody must obey, and if he doesn't obey, he can get in trouble, and parents can be imprisoned in Utah if they don't pay child support. And because it's all going to be assigned through the court and through the court system, Christine also has the option of going through Utah's recovery services to enforce and receive money from him. And under the law in the state of Utah, you can be charged with what's called criminal non-support, and it can actually be a felony, and that is if the arrears exceeds $10,000 or if the obligation is unpaid for more than 2 years. So if he reaches a balance of more than $10,000, he can technically be charged with felony non-sup support. It's under Utah Code Section 76-7-201. I'm sure that all this process has been frustrating and frightening for Christine because not only has she been made to pay for and support her kids without any assistance from him, but also the stress and the impact it has on really to have this very tense with a father that for all practical purposes is a deadbeat dad, right? I mean, he just wasn't there for her. So what I like about this for Christine is that there's now a mechanism in place that she can use in order to enforce that he pays, and that mechanism to enforce is the possibility and the actual threat of Cody going to jail if he doesn't pay. And what I also like about this is even though this can be very hard on parents, and some moms and dads that go through this will go through the court system for years and have to struggle to get paid, and then their SP, their exartant, or the biological parent that doesn't have child custody never paid. I mean, and that's horrible. But at least now there's this mechanism in place, this threat that will force Cody to comply. And Cody doesn't just get to decide if or not he wants to contribute the way that he's been able to decide he was going to contribute or not, depending on how his relationship was with his child and his wife. So what Cody used to do often was he would punish the wife that wasn't being obedient to him or that he wasn't close to, and therefore he would punish her by not being there for her kids and then justify his lack of relationship with the kids due to the wife not being an obedient wife and accuse the wife for lacking in being a father. This is what he did with Christine for years. He blamed her for the fact that he didn't have anything to do with his kids. It's his job as a father to be a father. She can't force him to do that. And I think Christine's been very pragmatic and reasonable when she speaks about this on the show. And what I see from her is she never gets in the middle of the relationships, and she always says she wishes he could have a good relationship with his kids, but she can't get him to do that. He has to do that himself. So now she's getting him to agree to a settlement, right? The state of Utah is gonna make him pay child support. Really will be 18 in 3 years. So at least for the next 3 years, he is on the hook. We have no idea what kind of arrearage he may be getting, like for if she's going to get money from the last 4 years. We also have no idea what their settlement agreement is. But under Utah law, a settlement agreement is a legally binding contract that states the terms of the agreement between the parents concerning the child's custody, parent time, and child support. It's a written agreement that settles the specific issues in contention before they reach trial. It's legally binding, meaning it's enforceable by the courts. If either party breaks, it's thorough, and it'll lay out all the major problems concerning that child. The court and judge have to sign off on this to make it sanctioned, and once sanctioned, usually times these settlements will come out. So we may see that in the future. I don't know if we will, but once sanctioned, the judge will make this enforceable, and that is when he really does not have a way out. And this being done this way, I think much of it has to do with the fact that Truly gets a greater say in this than she would if she were younger, and I believe she probably made it fairly enough clear that she wants to remain with her mom, and I believe that it is a good thing for Truly to be with her mom and to be with her stepdad. And on one hand, I'm glad that he's being held accountable for that. And I'm happy that he's not being a jerk, but he was being a jerk for all these other years. So it does kind of feel like a little bit too late. I also think that the timing of this makes me feel a little bit suspicious because the upcoming episode is that Garrison dies, and I think that Cody's attempting to get ahead of all of this damage control and the storyline because everything falls apart in the family once he died, and his relationships have suffered greatly, and he doesn't have contact with many of his kids anymore. So it's always just like too little too late, but he finally has the threat of jail if he doesn't pay, and that's not a threat he's ever had under any sort of law ever. So go. I hope you got everything. So what are your thoughts about this? Are you surprised that he came to an agreement? Are you happy for Christine? Tell me in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.